All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Friday. Happy Friday to everyone out there. A new month, August 1st, and we have a full MLB slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, keep an eye down on the pinned comment for my final plays. If that does interest you, if you do want to fade me, all of that absolutely free down in the pinned comment. In terms of how we did yesterday, 1 in 1 day, I will take a cha-ching for that Stanton hit, right? We just needed him to get one hit. His second pitch of the game, boom, he hits an absolute bomb off of Ryan Pepio. Unfortunately, the Reds can't follow it up for a 2-0 night. What I will say, and some people in the comments hate when I say things like this, and some people love it because I'm just being real, that half unit went a long way in terms of paying for the price of admission. That Reds game was pretty electric. They were up 3-0, and I'm feeling pretty good. Like, let's go. Then the Braves come back, tie it up, and then the Braves take a massive lead, like 11-4 or something like that. The Reds then late in the game tie that thing up. They go to extras. So, yeah, a half unit well spent, even though it doesn't result in a win. But I know the guppies in the comments are going to be like, it doesn't matter if it's a loss. Hey, entertainment value goes a long way. We got that one, but unfortunately could not come through with a 2-0 day there yesterday. And in terms of the ride of the day, unfortunately, we're right on the same page here. We'll drop a womp womp because it is the rules, but you know what? I like the spot here. Guard Dog Dave had the Reds -1.5. We had them on the money line, obviously kind of in the same boat here. But Dave was in a tough spot. 3 games on the slate yesterday, and it was his turn for the ride of the day, and he had to pick one, and I think the spot was a decent look. He took a swing at a plus money play. Unfortunately, it doesn't come through. So shout out to Dave. Did hit the game before, so that's good. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, it's simple. Just use hashtag ride of the day or hashtag ROTD down in the comments. Give me your favorite play of the day. I'm jumping on board with one person's play each and every day, and then I give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you win, we continue to roll and ride with your plays for the following days and keep giving you the shout outs. If you lose, and hopefully someone never loses, that'd be great for the ride of the day, right? Great for the program. You still get the shout out if you lose, but you got to face a womp womp like Dave did today. And I know I only jump on board with one person each day, so you might be thinking, why would I drop it? You know, what are the chances he picks me? Well, you're still helping out a ton of other people in the comments with that hashtag ride of the day. Think of it as a version of you saying, hey, here's my favorite play today, and a bunch of people can see it. And I love the fact that we're giving credit. Like I'm seeing in the comments lately, a lot of people being like, hey, like, you know, John X was able to give me this play. Shout out to him. Love that, guys, because we got a great community in the comment section down there. But all right, let's go ahead and dive into today's slate, guys. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It's a new month. Let's see if we can have a good August here. We're starting off with Cincinnati taking on Atlanta. Brady Singer on the bump going up against Bryce Elder. In terms of a pitching advantage here, I would give it slightly to Brady Singer. Elder hasn't looked all that great. I'm not trying to sit here and say that Brady Singer's fantastic. Kind of jumped off his train, earlier in the season just because I don't feel like he's a trustworthy pitcher. That being said, if his sinker is on, which he obviously throws a ton, 42% of the time, it could be a good pitch against this Atlanta squad. Even some of their better bats in the lineup struggle against that sinker. In terms of Bryce Elder, he's going to go slider sinker as well. His sinker could work fairly well also, but the slider is what worries me in terms of him. So I think I'm going to lean towards the Reds in this one. I think that if he hangs a couple of those sliders, we could see some crooked numbers from Cincinnati, and they're in the bounce back spot. You beat us last night, kind of a revenge spot. Minor, right? So give me the Reds as well as the over. The reason I like the over is because both these pitchers are susceptible to getting runs scored, right? We are in Great American Ballpark with really great weather. And throw in the fact that both of these bullpens have been pretty damn taxed lately. Like the Reds threw, I believe it was 5 or 6 arms yesterday. They have a bunch of guys that have gone 2 of the last 3. And then same thing with Atlanta. I like the idea of runs continuing to be scored. And we even saw it last night, right? It's almost like you got full game of run potential. We pivot to a player prop here as well. It's going to be Baldwin. Drake Baldwin's under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, simply because sinker slider, that's what he's going to get for the most part from Brady Singer. He's not great against those pitches. His WOBA dips on the season, and then throw in the fact that he struggles a little bit. And when I say struggle, it's just compared to lefties, struggles against the right hand. I will tell you guys, even all 3 of these may not be my favorite spots on the board today, but keep an eye on the final plays over on the site to see if we ultimately end up rolling with anything here. I like those spots. I just feel like coming back with a full slate, we may be able to dig up some better value. Just FYI. All right, next up here we have the Cubs taking on Baltimore. So this is going to be a little bit of a weird one because I think right away you think Cubs all day long. They're at home. They had the day off. You know, weather, is wind blowing in. I would say not so fast. Now, I will throw up. I am throwing up the Cubs here. I still do lean Cubs. But Trevor Rogers on the mound against Cade Horton. I do think that that's a big advantage for Baltimore. Trevor Rogers has looked very, very good. He's got one flat ERA over his last 5 starts. He's pitching 6 1/3 on average. That's pretty damn good as well, right? And he's only allowing 3 hits, 1 earned, like I mentioned, 5.5 strikeouts, 1 or 2 walks, and less than a home run per game. Those are damn good numbers. Cade Horton hasn't looked terrible. I mean, if you throw out that Houston start, which I think 4 or 5 starts ago, he's had 3 of his last 4 starts at 0 earned. So great. Okay, maybe, just maybe the Cubs can hang in there in terms of pitching advantage, but I will say that Trevor Rogers is probably in the better situation here, right? If we're just going to call a spade a spade. That being said, the reason I like the Cubs is pretty much, I guess, 2 things. The weather and the fact that they hit the ball on the ground. We have strong winds, 10 to 15 mile an hour winds blowing directly into home plate at the batter's face today, meaning if you're putting the ball in the air, it's not going to go anywhere. This Baltimore team against righties, middle of the pack in terms of ground ball to fly ball ratio, but the Cubs are hitting the 8th most ground balls, and I like that because I still think that they can get some base runners and play a little bit small ball, and they can do that a little bit better than Baltimore, okay? So very slightly into the Cubs. Where I do think we might get a little bit more precise here, and that's the second play, is Baltimore's team total under. This seems like it could be a decent spot. They also have not really, gone under the line. I think it's 3.5 right now in quite some time. I think 1 in their last 8. But that being said, they haven't had these situations where wind's blowing in and all that, right? So I think that could be a sneaky look here. I would say that, the Cubs have the bullpen advantage as well. Everyone is healthy, but obviously, with the fact that the trade deadline was yesterday and all that jazz, I do think that this is still a better Cubs bullpen. So, yeah, maybe a sneakier play would be Baltimore team total under rather than having to worry about Cade Horton or anything like that. But if Chicago stays in, right now I think it's -138. If this thing gets into the -150s, I'm probably out on it. If we can snag this, I'm going to see which direction this line is moving in kind of throughout the day. We might still roll with the Cubs money line just because I do think that they are the better team and can play small ball a little bit better. No player props in that game as of right now. Speaking of player props, we got a lot to talk about here. Sleeper has a ton of free squares for new users this week. You got a Kelsey Plum, Chase Burns, Dylan Cease, and Yamamoto. Yoshinobu Yamamoto. That was a tongue twister there for a second. You're also going to get your first deposit matched up to $100. Go check out Sleeper. I talk about it all the time on the channel, guys. There's a link down in the description. I'll also put the link in the pinned comment, whichever is easiest for you. Go sign up today. They'll match your first deposit. You're going to get a ton of promo action, a ton of free squares, a ton of boosts. They do promos like no one's business, like it's their business, which it is. Go check it out, guys. That link will be down below in the description as well as the pinned comment. Now, if you like player props, it's the perfect spot for you because each and every play that you throw into your slip changes the payout dynamically based on what you're selecting. Alternate lines. You can take bigger lines, lower lines, all that. They don't follow a fixed payout structure like a lot of other apps out there. So they kind of mirror what some of these normal, DK, FD, those books do, right, in terms of how the odds change. So really cool stuff. They have tons of alternate lines. This is a great place to play if you want some additional player prop action in on those games. So link down below, guys. Go check out Sleeper. Absolutely love them. Let's move on to the next game here. All right, Philadelphia taking on Detroit. Here we have Ranger Suarez, I believe it is, on the mound. Yeah, Ranger Suarez for Philadelphia. He's going up against Jack Flaherty. Suarez has not exactly been as dominant at his home as he has on the road, but he's very good against lefty bats. Obviously, there's a couple lefty bats in that Detroit lineup that are kind of the big power bats, Kerry Carpenter included. On the other side is Jack Flaherty, like I mentioned. He struggles against lefty bats. Schwarber, Bryce Harper. There's a ton of good lefties in that lineup. And he also hasn't been all that great on the road. So I do think even though Ranger Suarez has had his, turbulence in terms of his season, I would give a big advantage to the Phillies in terms of what we're seeing starting pitching-wise. Offensively, I would also say that, this Phillies team obviously very good at home, averaging 5.12 runs per game so far this season at home. Now, Detroit's actually one of the better road offenses as well. I think they're just under 5 runs scored, but they haven't been hitting lefties all that tremendously. And obviously Ranger Suarez is a lefty. Throw in the fact that he's actually has some fair numbers against, or in terms of his pitch mix should be pretty fair. Numbers against the actual lineup, though, massive downside to Jack Flaherty if you're back in the Tigers today. 68 plate appearances against here, 16.2% walk rate, so maybe that's a spot to look at for some walks because this is a Phillies team that's generating, I believe we just had it up 1 second. Yeah, they are a top 10 team against righties last 30 days and top 10 at home as well against righties in terms of generating walks, whereas Flaherty's walk rate has been pretty damn poor this season and on the road. So maybe that's a look. His WOBA's up there against this Phillies lineup. So obviously Jack Flaherty not exactly in the best of spots, and throw in the fact that he's going to hum fastball in there. Philadelphia's top 10 team against the fastball in the last 30 days. So yeah, simple enough for me. It's going to be Phillies, maybe their team total over, but I also like the idea of Jack Flaherty potentially walking a few guys here. So right now his walk line is at 1.5. It is juiced, but you can get it over on ProfitX for -152. That might be a good look. He's walking lefties, and I mentioned Schwarber, Harper, some of these guys that might be a little worrisome if you're a pitcher to pitch to. He's walking them at a 12.5% rate. So yeah, I do like the idea today of Flaherty going out there and walking some guys. But that'll probably lead to Phillies scoring runs and Phillies on the money line as well. Make sure you're getting some good odds. Like I think right now at the Phillies -156, it's a little overpriced. I would probably have this more in the -148 range, which you can get on some of those exchanges, MGM and FanDuel still as well. But just because the Phillies kind of check all the boxes for me here, I still don't think that they're worth like a -160 price. So just FYI there. Hopefully that helps. All right, next up we have Washington taking on Milwaukee. Unfortunately, I kind of like another favorite here. Milwaukee is just the far better team as of right now. Washington does have some big wins. I'll give them credit there. But this Milwaukee squad, taking 2 of 3 against the Cubs. They beat Seattle. They looked good against the Dodgers, right, sweeping them. Miami's the only team that beat them in a series recently, but they're just playing well. They obviously are kind of trying to get better too with some of the trades they made at the deadline. So I think Milwaukee has the momentum behind them, but unfortunately we're kind of right back where you're talking about like with the Phillies. Like if we were to take Milwaukee, we really want to make sure we get the best price, and at -140 I think that that's okay, but this is already in the -160s elsewhere, at least mid -150. So 15 cents of value is going to matter a lot here today. So I do lean towards the Brewers. In terms of who they have on the mound, they have Jose Quintana, who's actually been pretty serviceable on the road. Going up against Mitchell Parker, who has kind of struggled, right? Mitchell Parker is just going to throw fastball and curveball. He'll mix in the splitter and the I believe it's splitter and slider, but not exactly his main pitches. I don't think Milwaukee absolutely crushes Mitchell Parker, but I like their team total over as well, because even if they get a couple off of him, which should be fairly routine, right? They get to go against this Washington bullpen, in which I think that if you look at the Washington bullpen, they have only a couple arms available, a ton of guys coming up from AAA and all that. So I think that this could be a spot in which, yeah, Milwaukee might have 2 runs through the first 5, and you're like, wow, don't love their team total overlook here. But all of a sudden it's like boom, 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 boom after that in the bullpen. So maybe a lean towards their team total over is probably some better value, especially if you give, maybe an alternate line and get a better number there than taking them at -140, -150 on the money line, because this Nationals team has been kind of sneaky at times, right? Like they've all of a sudden come out of nowhere and scored some runs. Nothing consistent though. So Brewers in their team total over. I don't mind the idea of Bryce Terang under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. He's going to see the fastball, like I mentioned. He actually on the season has some good numbers against the fastball, but lately it's not a great pitch for him. And then when he sees the curveball, the slider, the splitter, all of those other pitches, he has a worse WOBA against those pitches than he does on average. And even in the last 30 days, he's struggling against those as well. So could be a good spot for him. My problem is, okay, if Mitchell Parker only pitches a few innings, Terang's going to get those later innings against who knows who in the bullpen, right? So that could be a little fishy there. But yeah, another favorite that I'm leaning towards in Milwaukee. There are some underdogs on the board that we have circled, so we'll get to those. But yeah, 4 games in, 4 favorites. Don't know about those decisions. All right, Toronto taking on Kansas City. I'm not going to lie. There was a time earlier this morning when I was kind of trying to formulate a way to get to Kansas City here for a nice little chunk of change there. Right now, they're +140. I'm not able to. Toronto, is still good. Did they look all that great in their last series against Baltimore? No, they did win that last game on Wednesday, but they lost the 3 before that. That being said, they should have, I don't think he's confirmed, but they should have Gausman on the bump going up against Michael Wacha. Michael Wacha's been very, very good lately, but anything he can do, you could probably say Gausman can do better in a sense too. He's been very good lately too, including a 6-inning, 1-hitter, 10-strikeout game against Detroit last time out. But again, Wacha's been very good, so I think Wacha can hold his own. The problem I have here is the fact that this is just a really good Toronto offense. It's going to see a ton of fastballs and cutters and even sinkers from Wacha, right? Like they should be able to hit that. So I was kind of formulating, maybe Wacha hangs in there. I don't mind their bullpen, blah, blah, blah. It's just such a good offense against righties. So it's going to be Toronto for me. Let's put that up on the screen. it'll be them, but I don't necessarily hate the idea of like Waka pitching well. So is it crazy to go first 5 under while also kind of backing Toronto's offense? Probably, because those don't necessarily correlate, but I'm gonna throw it up on the screen. I don't care if it's crazy. Blue Jays, but also a first 5 under. I think this could be like maybe a 2-2 game after 5, and then 6 inning comes around and Toronto just starts to score more and more and more and more. So yeah, it was a tough one. I don't know if I like the Blue Jays there at that -157 price tag, but I just can't deny that Gosman I still would take over Walk at right now. He's usually better on the road, but still he's at home. Maybe that's a little bit of an advantage. And you throw in the fact the pitch mix just kind of fits what we're seeing this Toronto team be able to hit, and he's a righty on the other side in Waka. So yeah, kind of pains me because I did try to get to Royals today. All right, Miami taking on the Yankees. Jansen Junk going up against Carlos Rodon. Carlos Rodon, obviously the pitching advantage here, I would say, but he's got a couple questionable starts. In fact, you can even make the argument that maybe 3 of his last 4 starts have been kind of like dicey, right? But Jansen Junk, I don't necessarily love the idea of him against this Yankees squad. He is going to throw the slider, which the Yankees hit well. His next pitch is the fastball. The Yankees don't hit the fastball all that well right now. So maybe that's your argument to get to Miami. But to me, I do still think that the Yankees can score some runs here. I almost wanted to take a peek at the full game over, but I think it ultimately ends up just being Yankees team total over for me, because I think that 1, they can score runs off of Jansen, maybe a couple. And then 2, even if we do get to the bullpen, I think that they should be okay, right? The problem is, and why I don't necessarily love the idea of the full game over, is Miami. They're crushing righties. They're like dead last in a lot of categories in the last 30 days against lefties, and they're going to see the fastball, the slider from Rodon. I don't necessarily love the spot from them. So unfortunately, I do think that Miami can contribute to this one. I just don't know if I feel all that comfortable with it. So that's why we ultimately look at the Yankees team total over. But I'm also liking the idea of Cody Bellinger over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. It's pretty damn juiced at -140 for an over here, but in his last 5 games, he's absolutely been crushing it. He's averaging 2.8 hits, runs, and RBIs. Last 3, 5, 3, and 3. I like his matchup today against the pitch mix. Jansen Junk's going to go slider. He hits the slider well, fastball, curveball, changeup. All those should be good in terms of how Cody Bellinger has been hitting the ball. So, yeah. And how about our 3-unit Cody Bellinger play of the preseason took his future over 20.5 home runs? He's at 20 right now, I believe, maybe 19. No, I think 20 right now. That looks pretty damn good. So you know what? If he hits a home run today, we cash a couple bets if we do make those final plays. But like I mentioned, it's probably Yankees team total over. Yes, you could say, okay, what about them on the money line? But for the price tag right now, I do not think that that is worth it. So we'd probably be hoping for them to go out there and score, 5 runs to get us any sort of value whatsoever. All right, guys, before we do move on to the rest of the games, I wanted to shout out our dashboard, our MLB dashboard that we build each and every day for you guys here over on GuyBostonSports.com. Head over to the members area and sign up today. We have a discount code for you, so stay tuned for a couple minutes, but let me walk through the dashboard first. You have each and everything that I consider a crucial part of kind of getting a sense of the game. Pitching data, batting data, you have trends, you have bullpen arms down below, you have the projected lineup and how they should fare against the pitches and all that stuff, right? Each and every game, like I mentioned, it's probably going to take a while to, actually, that loaded pretty quick. Sometimes when I'm recording, it takes a while to load, but each and every game, you have them all tabbed out at the top here. All you have to do today is head over to GuyBostonSports.com, head over to the members area, and when signing up, use code NEWMONTH. It's right there on your screen, NEWMONTH, spelling bee champ there, and you're going to get your first month there at $2.99. It does then renew at the full price of $6.99 per month, but what a great deal, guys. Go ahead and check it out. Again, GuyBostonSports.com. All you have to do is head over to the members area and sign up. I'll put a link down in the description as well as the pinned comment as well, but make sure to use code NEWMONTH. Again, first month, it's going to be at that $2.99 price. It'll then renew at $6.99, but if you guys do want to check it out and get access to what I consider an absolute beast of a tool, I guess I have to say that because we built it ourselves, go ahead and check that out. Now let's get back to the games. All right, Mets taking on the Giants here. We have Robbie Ray going up against David Peterson. So obviously 2 pitchers that we should be able to entrust a little bit here, right? 2 lefties as well, which we do love to see for our plays because neither one of these squads hit lefties all that well. But I like the first 3 and the first 5 under, if you kind of had me pick something right away in terms of gut instincts. And it does check out when we kind of look into the numbers. David Peterson's been fantastic over the first 3. Robbie Ray as well. This Mets offense didn't look all that tremendous in that San Diego series. San Francisco just doesn't have a fantastic offense overall. Where we maybe get a little little lost in the sauce here is, you know, truly backing Robbie Ray against the Mets lineup that is still very good, right? Like, yes, Robbie Ray's been very good, but he has had some kind of like yikes starts lately overall. But still, even in his career here against the Mets, he's got decent numbers: 244 average, 27% K rate, just a 5.7% walk rate. So hopefully that kind of comes through, because I think David Peterson should be the more trustworthy pitcher in this one. Now, where I end up leaning towards the underdog finally, the Giants, is the fact that the later this game goes, I do think that this is a San Francisco team that has a decent bullpen. And this Mets squad, you know, especially if they toss some of those, you know, like Lucchesi or whatever his name is, he's a lefty out of the bullpen too. Gage, some of these guys that are obviously okay. I think that the Mets could kind of struggle all the way through. Now, another thing, David Peterson, absolutely fantastic against lefties. There's only a couple lefties, and they are decent lefties. You know, Devers, Jung-Hoo Lee in the lineup here for the Giants today. Most of the guys in their lineup, Adames, Ramos, Chapman, Flores, are righties. David Peterson, not all that great against righties. So another reason in why I do kind of like the Giants, especially for the plus number that you're getting behind them today. But that's not to diminish the idea of me liking the first 3 or the first 5 under, probably more than anything. Like, yes, Peterson kind of struggles in those spots, but I really do think that we have a better chance of an under than we do the Giants getting to David Peterson, even with the lefty-righty splits. You know what I mean? So it'll be Giants for me in terms of that price, but those unders are definitely going to be something that I'm circling in terms of final plays here today, hoping to get to first 3 or first 5, or hey, sound the cycle alarm, or we get to both, right? Let's move on to the next game. All right, next up, Cleveland taking on Minnesota. We have Gavin Williams listed as a starter going up against Joe Ryan. Now, before we get into this game, I kind of do have a question for you guys to answer in the comments. Joe Ryan's name was obviously thrown around like absolute craziness on the trade deadline. Now he's coming out to start. Like, how do you think that affects somebody? Because I could see it going one of two ways. Man, he's kind of pissed and like he's going to internalize it and go out there and shove. But you could also be like, damn, this team was almost doing everything they could to get rid of me. They got rid of legitimately half the team. If you guys haven't seen who the Twins have traded, go look it up. If you know a Twins name, he probably got traded yesterday. So I'm like, how does that affect someone like Joe Ryan, who now is going up and starting? I'm not sure. It is kind of weird to me in a sense, I guess, but ultimately, yeah, I just want to know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know, because it's just such a weird situation. And it's not like, oh, maybe he's traded. It's like there was so many reports of every team looking into Joe Ryan. The Twins were trying to move him, but they asked for a lot and blah. So it's like it's almost like the Twins definitely wanted to, and then his entire clubhouse gets traded. For that reason alone, I almost like the idea of the Guardians today. I don't think I get there. One spot that I could get there, and this is I'm almost having to put in a vacuum and block out the idea of, you know, Joe Ryan potentially being kind of in his own head about being traded, is that first 3 and first 5 under. I still think he can go out there and pitch well against this Guardians squad. We saw this Guardians lineup start to look pretty good and all that, and then they cooled off, and then they smacked up Colorado. I don't know if I'm willing to say, hey, this Guardians lineup is absolutely back, right? I was kind of fishy and hesitant to say that before, and it kind of came to fruition. It's still Joe Ryan. He still should be good, and it's Gavin Williams on the other side. I trust him to some degree, especially against I don't even know what this Minnesota lineup's going to look like tomorrow, right? So to me, yeah, we're going to look at the first 3 or the first 5 under, whichever one we can get better value. The reason I end up liking the Guardians, though, is I think that they have a little bit more push behind them, you know what I mean? They're at 500 right now, 54 and 54. Minnesota's, I think, like 6 or 8, maybe 7, whatever, 6 to 8 games below 500. Clearly sellers at the deadline. I don't think vibes are going to be very, very high for that Twins offense or team in general. So, yeah, I like that first 3 under, but curious to see what people think in the comments about, you know, Joe Ryan or any pitcher. It could be anyone that kind of is about to get traded. Like, he's probably packing his freaking bags, and all of a sudden, like, 6:30 rolls around, trade deadline is over, you're staying here, buddy. So a little bit interesting. Let me know in the comments, but I do like the guards and the under. The under has a strong chance of being a final play here in terms of first 3 or first 5, whichever I deem is a little bit more valuable. All right, Red Sox taking on Houston. Do not worry, I'm not that delusional. It's Hunter Brown against Cooper Criswell. I do lean towards the Astros in this spot, even as a big Red Sox fan. Where I give the Red Sox a little bit of credit, though, I do think is on the offensive side of things. Yes, Hunter Brown's fantastic. Obviously, he's a very, very good pitcher, but he is going to throw the fastball and the sinker. The Red Sox, you can even see via our dashboard here. I'll show you right now. Via our dashboard, they're pretty damn good against those 2 pitches. Number 1 last 30 days against the fastball. The sinker, number 1 as well. Top 10 against the nut curve that they'll see too. So, yeah, to me, this is a spot in which the Red Sox can hang. I think the Astros ultimately win it. I think they have some bullpen advantages, obviously, as well. So, yeah, it's going to be Astros for me. In terms of player props, though, I don't mind the idea of, both Bregman and Duran getting hits. I think that those could be a good spot. Their pitch mix ratings are really, really good in terms of what we have from the score predict sheet. So, yeah, kind of like the idea of them to get hits. That's more of like a little fun parlay or something like that if you threw them in together. I would say the over is definitely something that I'm considering in this one, because even if, Brown goes out there and absolutely shoves, do we think Cooper Criswell's going to? I don't. I don't think Cooper Criswell's a good pitcher, right? He's only pitching because of the injuries and situations the Red Sox have right now. So even if Hunter Brown goes out there and pitches a gem, it's like the Astros could put up a big number and really point us in the direction of this over. So I think over 8 might be the best spot I look at. If we can get a 7.5 juiced, kind of like that as well too, because I could see a 3-3 game, at any point. It's like, all right, well, just get a couple more runs here, because I could see the Red Sox scoring 3 today. Wouldn't surprise me if the Astros go out there and score 5. All right, this next one we got Tampa Bay taking on the Dodgers, and I got some question marks. I lean Rays because of the price. I lean towards the under, but is that kind of dumb in a ballpark, especially with an offense? Like, yes, the Dodgers offense has been a little bit, wishy-washy, but is it kind of dumb to lean that direction with all the guys that they have on this squad? But it is Kershaw and Shane Baz, and I trust, honestly, both of those guys, right? So I do lean the Rays simply because this Dodgers team has not been all that great offensively. Their best scoring games lately are like 5 runs, which this Rays team can certainly keep up with, right? Like in a losing effort against the Yankees, they went 4-5, 4-4 in 4 games, and they lost 3 of those 4. If they put 4 runs up today, they give themselves a decent chance at this game, the way the Dodgers have been playing. So, yeah, I put question marks because it's a little bit crazy, but I don't mind the idea, again, of that first 500. Maybe both these pitchers a little bit better than the batters today. Where I could see a final play coming in is going to be Nick Fortes, under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. He's terrible against lefties. He's going to see a lot of sliders. He doesn't hit those all that well either. In terms of a pitch mix rating that we have is pretty damn good. So, yeah, could be a nice spot for him overall. In fact, what is the pitch mix rating? Let me look it up real quick. We have him at a minus 1.1, so could be a decent spot there. But a quick one because I'm kind of undecided. Let me know what you guys think, because this is a spot in which, yeah, the Dodgers probably are the better team, but at that price tag, I think it's only Rays for me. And I say the Dodgers are probably, I know the Dodgers are the better team, okay? But it's just what it is right now. All right, next up, we got Colorado taking on Pittsburgh, and to be honest, I could have a couple final plays in this game, which you don't even know what the plays are yet, and I'll sound a cycle alarm because that is fair. But we're going to look at either the Rockies or the under in this spot. So we have Antonio Sensatella. Don't love the idea of him on the bump. He stinks out loud, right? I don't even know how he still has a job, but he's going up against Andrew Heaney, who has had his hits or misses. This Colorado team does hit lefties fairly well, though. Last 30 days, 6th in average, 5th in K rate, 12th in OPS, 9th in slugging, 13th in ISO. So I do think that they could fare all right. Now, I don't think that they're going to go out there and absolutely smack anything like that, okay? Don't get me wrong. That's why we still lean towards the under, but Andrew Heaney, serviceable lefty, maybe he does suppress them a little bit, right? But flip it over, Sensatella being a righty, this is such a Pittsburgh offense that just stinks, right? So that's why I like the under, even with the elevation and we're in cores and all that hoopla. You're telling me both of these teams, 2 of the worst offenses in the league, both of these squads are going to go out there and just for sure put up big numbers just because it's Colorado? You still need to hit the damn ball, right? So, yeah, under 12 could be a look for me here today. I'll sound it again. Psycho alert alarm, because the fact that I am this passionate about a Pirates and Rockies game is a little bit crazy. But ultimately, I don't necessarily see this one being a massively high-scoring game. If it does, I think it's because the Rockies are more comfortable at home against lefties, and they've been doing well against lefties at home in the last month or so. So, yeah, Rockies in the under. Honestly, there's a chance that those are final plays, which, again, is crazy. I admit it. But, yeah, it's funny because we look at, like, some of these games that have been like, oh, there's better spots on the board, and you probably didn't anticipate it was going to be a Colorado and Pittsburgh spot. All right, next up, we have the LA Angels taking on the White Sox. And yeah, I told you we had some underdogs coming, guys. We just went back-to-back Rockies and now White Sox. This White Sox team hitting lefties really, really well, with the exception of, I forget who. They had one lefty that they didn't hit. It was in that Philadelphia game that we actually kind of spotted correctly. So that was nice to see, right? But Tyler Anderson's in the mound for the Angels. He is obviously a lefty and not a very good one at that. Now, some of his numbers lately look pretty good, so I guess we can give him a little bit of credit, but again, I do think that this is a White Sox spot in which they should be able to hold their own. They have Shane Smith on the mound, who I do like. He's going to throw a lot of fastballs. Yes, the Angels do hit fastballs pretty well, but this Angels team, I don't care if you're going up against the White Sox. They don't deserve to be minus 135, minus 140 favorites against anybody. So, yeah, it's going to be White Sox for me. There's also, a few lefties in the top of that lineup, and just overall, I guess, some of the young lefties too. Anderson's been real bad against lefties so far this year. 1.67 whip, 6.12 FIP, average over 300, a walk rate of nearly 9, and a strike rate of just 17. So I think that we could see the White Sox put up a fair enough number today, which is why we're also leaning towards their team total over. Now, which one would I prefer out of those two, whether it's the White Sox or the team total over? I'd probably say White Sox, because to be able to have the White Sox have to score 5 runs for you to cash anything is a little worrisome. Like, they could win this one 4-2 for all I care, right? And they wouldn't have hit the team total over, but they still won by a margin of 2 runs. So yeah, White Sox and their team total, but I probably 4+ money still ultimately lean towards the White Sox a little bit more in the money line. All right, moving on to San Diego taking on St. Louis. It's going to be San Diego for me. I think they have a big starting pitching advantage with Nick Pivetta on the bump going up against Liberatore. Pivetta's been very good at home. He's been very good as of late, and this team has been very good against lefties in the last 30 days in terms of them hitting. I still lean towards a first 500 because I don't fully trust the Padres offense, you know what I mean? So there's that. And the pitch mix that they'll see. They're going to get a lot of cutters. They'll get some sliders. Not really the pitches that we love in terms of them smacking it around. But they are very good against lefties, and this current lineup is very good against lefties too. So that's why I lean towards them. But you are paying a pretty damn premium price tag if you like the Padres today. So if you do, I get it. They've won, I think it's 4 or 5 straight games. But that price tag's probably getting carried away. If you can get this in the -160s, I think you'll have some CLV by the end of the day, because this, I would imagine, closes probably around -180, which is a pretty bold statement, but I think that's the direction it's moving in. That first 500, like I said, it's kind of just due to the offenses. I think Pivetta can pitch pretty well against the St. Louis team, and Liberatore seems to get out of jams. So yeah, first 500 lean, but Padres probably the stronger lean, but you're paying the price tag as if it is a stronger play, so that makes sense. Next up, I honestly don't think I have too much interest in this one, but it's the Athletics and Arizona. Arizona obviously sold a bunch of guys at the deadline. Anthony DeSclafani is on the mound right now, going up against Jacob Lopez. If there's one thing that we can say about this game, it's that Jacob Lopez has been okay. I guess okay is a fair way of putting it, right? He's had some blow-up starts, but when he doesn't pitch well, it's usually against a good offense. We've started to learn that, right? But either way, better than DeSclafani, and this Athletics offense probably humming a little bit more than this Arizona offense. So I'll lean towards the A's and their team total over. I just don't like the idea of backing the A's at, -130. That seems a little too juicy. And their team total over, again, are they that consistent of an offense? Not all that sure. Yes, I do love the idea of them at home playing in that ballpark. That could be good, but it depends on what number we can get, right? If we have to go for 5 runs here, I don't know how much I absolutely love that, but if we can get a 3.5, which I don't think you can, that'd probably be where I look. All right, last game on the board, we have the Mariners taking on the Rangers. And yeah, I like the first 500 in this one. I also like the Mariners in the first 5, kind of giving the ball to, Logan Gilbert here, who's on the bump. I think that's probably safe against Jack Leiter. Jack Leiter will either get lit up or look pretty damn good. He's been very good lately, right? And Logan Gilbert, I expect to be able to pitch well against this squad. He already has a couple starts against them this year, one being more recent, one being at the beginning of the year, and he didn't look fantastic, but still in his career against them, he's been pretty good, right? 218 plate appearances against. 218 plate appearances against, a 168 average against. So I could see him pitching fairly well, and you're going to get the fastball and slider combo from Jack Leiter. I like the idea of both of these guys being able to kind of suppress the offense for the first 5. So first 5, definitely a spot in which I'm considering. I just don't want to pay too much juice for it. So if we can get it, inside -140 or something like that, maybe that's the spot. If not, we probably pivot to the first 3. But I think that you're going to be able to get that, under 4.5 for -130 right now. If you can beat that, that's probably what I'd ultimately end up looking at. But I just think Gilbert has the advantage. That's why I lean Mariners, and they're at home. I lean them in terms of that first 5. Yesterday's game was a 6-0 win for Seattle. Don't mind the idea of them kind of running away with it again. And that was a low-scoring game in the first 5. I think they scored 3 runs in the first 5. So, boom, there it is, right? But anyways, guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, smack that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. We'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.